Hey everybody,
What's going on, Bridging the Gap? It's Roger.
and Cheryl.
And we just came from the inaugural African Diaspora Conference here in Dallas, the first one they've ever had, which was focused on organizing the diaspora to focus on the continent.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot that was shared, a lot of good information. Cheryl got to see more of it than I did. I had to run out. But there's about three or four things that we want to talk about real quick. All right. This conference, even though it was only a couple hours today, it's all day tomorrow, but we can't attend tomorrow, really kind of angered me. The more I talk about what's going on the continent of Africa, the more troubling it is to me. And I hope it's troubling to y'all because it's time to do something. This will not be the last conference of this type, but it's time to actually start putting some things into action. So we want to talk about, you're going to hear at the end of this clip, we're going to try to play a video for you. If you guys don't know, Africa, just as of last year, passed a free trade law, so that they can trade and have their own African Union and trade amongst each other in Africa. I believe that was just last year. The gal that you're going to hear at the end of this clip is talking about the free trade in Africa. She was the head of the union until she started making too many waves. And they recently...
She was an ambassador, I believe.
A U.S. ambassador to the union. That's what she was. Yeah. U.S. ambassador to the union. But she was making too many waves. You're going to hear at the end of this clip, she's focused on real stuff, things that actually need to happen and not all that yip yap that people be doing. So they let her go. Well, she was a keynote speaker at this event, and she was talking specifically to us, fellas. And I'm going to spend some time at the end of this video talking to us. But she was talking about one major event that is still taking place in Africa that is troubling beyond belief. And that is the fact that France still has control over many African nations, meaning that these countries cannot use their own currencies. They have to use the is it the franc? No, that's the Swiss franc. What's
whatever French currency?
Whatever the French, yeah, it's the franc, I believe it is. Anyway, they have to use their currency, right? The reserves for these countries, the banking reserves, are held by France, which means that if they need money, they have to go to France to borrow their own money and pay interest on it. This is going on today to the tune of $5 billion a year France is receiving from the continent for absolutely nothing. If they want to have trade agreements, these countries that France still has a hold on the continent of Africa, if they want to have trade agreements with other nations outside of the continent, they have to go to France first to give them first right of refusal before they can even talk to anybody else. This is going on right now. Colonization on the continent right here, right now. And nobody's doing anything about it. I actually bumped into a gentleman today who was a legislator in the state of Arkansas, and he actually deals with some legislators and has been back and forth to the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And I said, so you've dealt in Africa. I said, I'm curious, what do you think about what's going on with France and some nations in Africa? He had no idea that France is still pulling $5 billion a year out of African nations for nothing. So, first of all, it's time to educate people about what is really taking place on the continent. And then it's time to do something. Enough is enough, man. How much can you possibly take? You got these people borrowing their own money at interest and can't do trade deals without your approval. That's slavery. That is modern day slavery. And enough is enough. And the United States is really not much better. So we were talking, Cheryl was reading an article today. You want to talk about that article a little bit?
I guess over the last couple of years, Rwanda has been, they've decided that they don't want to take used clothes from the U.S. Apparently, the U.S., when we give clothes to like the Goodwill.
Hold on. Hear this clearly. When you give away clothes,
Yeah.
this is what they're doing with it.
Yeah. So because they're getting so many clothes, I guess, they're taking those excess used clothes and selling them to countries like Rwanda and other countries as well. But they're selling them like to the tune of, I think for the U.S., it's $24 million a year that they're getting from selling clothes that we gave them
For free.
And Rwanda's, they had enough because they want to build their own textile industry, and that's preventing them from being able to do that. It's part of it, and then also they said the pride of the people
Digging through somebody else's clothes, a pile of used. Come on, man.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do somebody like that and give them hand-me-downs, how you charge them $24 million for it when it costs you nothing?
Right.
I mean,
so they've had enough, and because of that, the U.S. was trying to kick them out of another trade agreement, the AGOA. I can't remember what that stands
for. The American.
Some type of trade.
Yeah. It's where it was a fund that Congress has passed to as African something or other to invest in Africa, right? In different parts of Africa. They're threatening to kick them out of that, or basically say we won't send you any funds. We're not going to invest in Rwanda if you don't take our hand-me-downs and pay us $24 million.
African Growth and Opportunity Act.
There you go. Yeah. AGOA.
Yeah.
So they're threatening them with the AGOA Act, and then they're saying that they're not gonna be duty free in the things in one certain arena. That a product that they send to the States will no longer be duty free if you don't agree to continue to taking our secondhand clothes and paying us for them.
And see, here's the thing: what they were doing, they were increasing the tariff on it, or the
duty free means you'll pay taxes now.
Right. No, Rwanda was doing that to the people.
Oh, that's what
clothes.
That's what they did. They recently raised their tariffs extremely high to make it prohibitive, so they wouldn't send the clothes because they don't want them anymore. And now the U.S. is saying, look, certain industries that come here from there will no longer be duty free, and we won't help you out with AGOA. We're going to force you to take these clothes.
Right. Which is interesting considering Trump wants to raise tariffs for everybody else because they're taking advantage of the U.S., but it's okay for us to take advantage of other people, and they can't raise their
make them
tariffs.
Take our clothes that we don't want.
Yeah.
Make them and pay $24 million for it.
Yeah.
Absolutely mind-boggling. But I tell you what, that can be dealt with. All it's going to take is a nonprofit because you're giving that stuff to the Salvation Army. If they're going to sell it, don't give it to them. If they're going to give it to the Goodwill and they're going to sell it, don't give it to them. We can put together a nonprofit, and if there is a need for the clothing, and they just don't want to pay that kind of money for it, all you got to do is pay for the shipping.
Yeah.
It's all tax exempt.
Goodwill and stuff, they do sell stuff here too. They will sell the stuff. They have a store and people go in and buy it. But that's different from if you're trying to send the clothes to a third world country and charging them, all this
millions
money.
Of dollars for clothes nobody wants.
Yeah.
Absolutely retarded. Yeah. So the third thing that we wanted to talk about was the Berlin Conference. And I don't know if we've mentioned this before, but Berlin Conference is where Europe basically came together and decided how they were going to divvy up Africa. And what sunk in today that I think I'd heard before, didn't really get, is they divided up Africa based on resources and what they needed. So this region will be called this because, whatever their reason was for naming stuff. One of the guys gave the example. They named regions for basically needs that they had. So if they had oil or gold or cocoa beans or whatever it was the Europeans wanted, okay, France, you get this region because they have that and you need that. UK, you get this. Germany, you get that. and they divvied it up based on the resources there, not along lines of where the people who lived there. So Africa was not divvied up. It wasn't all these different countries battling against each other. It was a continent that Europe with different kingdoms, not countries. Yeah. Europe divvied that up based on their needs to draw clear lines of demarcation of who owns what, right? But they didn't consider the people. One of the gals on one of the panels today was talking about how Senegal and Gambia border one another. But when they split them up based on resources, they didn't consider the people. And now, because they've created such division amongst African neighbors, that going for her to go from Gambia to Senegal to visit her own family is like the same inspections you get when you cross the border to go to Mexico.
Right. She was saying basically like, you have one part of the family living on one side of town, the other one living on the other side of town, and the country got split right in the middle. And so you got one side of family and one country.
And now you have to go through all kinds of inspections and whatnot just to go see your family who's up the street. Because they drew these lines and they created these divisions, and they're still there today. Yeah. Why isn't Africa as a continent functioning like North America? You got Mexico, as big as it is, it's all one entity. Canada, as big as it is, the United States of America especially has 50 different states and a couple territories outside, but we all operate as one united nation. They have divided Africa, and there's still these divisions today where you can't cross basically state lines without going through all of these inspections and nonsense, and every bit of this came out of Europe. So when I'm looking at what the states are doing right now, forcing Rwanda to buy $24 million worth of used clothes, $5 billion rolling into France for no good reason whatsoever. How are you going to take a country's banking reserves? And they don't have any other trade agreements with anybody set up. So transitioning out of that, they know for them to transition out is going to be extremely difficult and extremely painful and take a substantial amount of money. And what you're going to hear at the end of this is we need to raise that money. And bottom line, what we're about to share, fellas, is a challenge for you and I. It is time for us to stand up. I've been saying this for a long time, just about brothers in the church. Forget the church. I'm talking globally. I'm talking about for everybody that looks like me and you. If you are a man and you can hear the things that I'm sharing right now, and it doesn't literally piss you off, what's wrong with you? And if it does piss you off, what are you willing to do about it? Because this woman is about to challenge us, and I welcome this challenge, and I'm glad she said it the way she said it. If you ain't going to do it, get out the way. Mm-hmm. If you're not going to lead, follow, but get out the way. There will be some solutions to these problems that we will present soon. We're working on some stuff that we'll share with all of you guys as the time comes. But this is a money issue, and we have all got to come together and contribute. Yeah,
there's enough money in the diaspora.
Do you understand? Forget across the world. In the United States of America, we are the ninth largest. The black people in America are the ninth largest economy on the planet. You can't tell me we can't fix this. You can't tell me we can't address this. You cannot tell me we can't stop France from raping and pillaging and contributing nothing. They contribute nothing. They got them over a financial barrel, and they just continuing to whoop them like they did the slaves that came here. Trump's doing the same thing with used clothing. It's time. This has got to stop. So with that, we're going to play this video for this battery runs out on the computer. It's a short video, but I want you to hear what this woman says. She was the ambassador to the African Union from America, and she's spot on with all of it.
and they keep burning you, and you keep saying, ouch, and you keep saying, ouch. Oh no, it didn't hurt as bad. Oh no, that was bad. How long are we going to continue to be burnt?
That's right.
I want to ask all of you black men, you have not defended us as your wives. You have not defended us as your sons and daughters. How do you sit back and watch France bullying African countries into giving France their bank reserves? And then when they want to take a little bit of the money they have given France, they have to get it as a loan. How do you borrow your own money? And then immediately you go from France sitting on trillions of dollars from these countries, and now you owe France for borrowing your own money. Where are you, black men, I ask? Anywhere else on earth, what's happening in Africa could be a reason for all-out war.
It would be war.
It's only when it's being done to black people. Let me share with you a story. Once upon a time, in the country of Ghana, when the British had colonized the Gold Coast, they were taking Ghanaian kings, the Ashanti kings, into exile in Mauritius. And after that, they were going after the Ashanti gold stool. You have to understand that the Ashanti gold stool holds the spirit of the Ashanti people. And when you take the Ashanti gold stool, you are taking the spirit of the people. So the men, afraid of the British governor, they were beginning to negotiate. They wanted to know, in exchange for the golden stool, can we have the king who is in exile in Mauritius? The Ashanti men were willing to give up the golden stool in exchange for one king. The gatekeeper of the Ashanti golden stool, a female by the name of Nanaya Asantua, hearing of what the Ashanti men were getting ready to do, I'm going to paraphrase her speech. She said, is it true that the bravery of the Ashanti men is no more? Is it true that the Ashanti men are prepared to give up the spirit of the Ashanti people? She says, if that is so, she will not have it. That she shall call upon her fellow sisters, the Ashanti women. They were going to take arms, and they would fight the British until the last one of them is down. She shamed the Ashanti men, who then picked up arms and fought the British and defended the golden stool. To this day, the Ashanti people still have their golden stool. So to you black men, I say, if you do not stand up and defend us as your wives, if you do not stand up and defend us as your sons and daughters, then move over. For the black woman is coming. No more shall we watch our husbands disrespected. No more shall we watch our children being disrespected. Last time I checked, the ability to produce melanin was not a crime. So on that note, we're giving it up to you men.
No.
We're warning you.
No.
We're warning you and we're putting you on notice. Fix this. Fix this. I thank you.